feedback, you should believe that feedback is gold. When you have that mindset and that perspective, you become rich every time people tell you the truth. That when they're kind enough to share with you what you're lacking or what you're needing to improve or what you're missing the boat on, that's gold.
Listeners, welcome to another episode of Light Beyond Limits, the podcast where we talk about the breakthroughs and stories that people have had with their limitations and the lessons they learned from it. I'm your host, William Blake, and today is the 100th episode. The 100th episode. Oh my goodness. Starting this in February. I can't believe we're already at 100 episodes. And even more importantly, I brought on a very, very special guest, one of my best friends, to be on this 100th episode and to interview him because, oh my goodness, what he's done in his life and how inspiring he is. So, Jon, thank you for being here. Let me share your bio and then we'll just jump into it. Jon Kovach Jr. is an award-winning and international motivational speaker and global mastermind leader. Jon has helped thousands of professionals overcome their challenges and achieve their goals through his irrefutable laws of high performance. Jon is the founder of Champion Circle, a professional association. Jon is a 25 times national #1 best-selling author. Jon is a TEDx speaker and is a premier keynote final speaker on Amazon Prime TV in the hit show Speak Up. Oh my goodness, Jon, thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, I just feel hearts. They're everywhere. I mean, the love is in the room and there we go. Yeah, yeah.
I got to throw it up there too. Heck yeah.
Well, first and foremost, Willie, I know that you and I are really close friends. And I will dare to say, I think you were my best friend before I was your best friend. No, I'm just kidding. We won't have that hash out now. But I just want to say how honored I really am. I was just reflecting too, like I'm familiar with your podcast. I've listened to a few episodes. I love the conversations and the mission and the purpose behind it. But boy, am I truly honored. Like literally just finishing up a TED Talk recently and feeling, high as life can be. This is a highlight for me to be able to celebrate with you on your 100th episode, to see how far you and I have come since, well, let's turn back the time, shall we? And go to this wonderful day a few years ago at a Starbucks, meeting William Blake for the first time, and how much we've grown and changed and just become this reckoning force of friendship, love, and progress. And I didn't think I'd do this, but I'm choking up right now. Stop, Jon. Stop choking up. Like I literally am so honored and so excited to be here. And I just can't wait to see the let's turn the clock now forward and say like let's see what happens in the next 3 to 5 years and where we're at and the world that we're creating and the lives that we're changing as much as we have already done and tenfold that. And I'm just excited. I'm honored. So thank you for having me. Let's celebrate. This is so fun.
Yes, let's celebrate. It has been back in 2019 when Jon and I first met, and it's been a roller coaster of a bunch of stuff over the last 5 years. And it's crazy because Jon has a podcast, Circle of Knowledge, that I was able to be on. And I looked at that video like a month or two ago. We were so young. And so we were experienced in our own realms, but like, goodness, we were young. We were trying our best. Like, we were wanting to get out there and make a name for ourselves. And it's just crazy to think about how far we've come since then. Oh my goodness. We can reminisce and we can cry about it later. But right now, it's about adding value to this audience because Jon has done incredible things in his life. And I want him to share his wonderful experiences with everyone who's listening today. Jon, I'd love to just start out. What is your story? How did you become Jon Kovach Jr.?
Man, I wish I could answer that in 2 words. But it truly is a remarkable experience. And I often tell people that I've lived multiple lives in the short 35 years of my existence. And the reason is my superpower is my attention deficit hyperactive. And I'm not going to call it a disorder. I'm going to call it a disopportunity. I don't know. I've thrown the word dis. It didn't feel good, but it really is something that has given me a lot because at one point in my life, you could call me an athlete. At another point in my life, you could call me a motivational speaker. And now you can call me a TEDx speaker or an author, right? In other parts of my life, you could call myself a, a young entrepreneur. And I still am in that entrepreneurial spirit, but we're building something that's just phenomenal. And in other parts of my life, you could call me the dreamer. And there's just so many things that have filled my life. And I've had a relatively normal life, a good family, um, brothers and sisters who have all been in my life. I'm the middle, technically the older middle child of four. And I have an older sister who I've just completely looked up to my entire life. She was like my model for what life should look like. And then I had a younger brother who he and I fought all the time, but ended up becoming my hero. And I have a younger sister who I'm pretty sure is like Einstein reincarnated into a human being because she is brilliant. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of that lineage. But but if you really dial back, I mean, this is my quick story. Is I like to tell people that the athlete in me was just a young boy watching the Olympics on TV and saw that the best, greatest athletes in the world were wearing all these, whatever they're called, the silky, the jerseys, the singlets, those whole get-ups that they wear on television. And so I researched the house because I wanted to be exactly what they were. And I could find the closest thing to what they were wearing on television, and it happened to be my older sister's silky nightgown. And I put that on, and then I thought, you know what? I feel fast. So I started running around the neighborhood wearing my sister's silky nightgown, yelling at the top of my lungs, like, I'm going to be an Olympic champion. I'm going to be the fastest person in the world. Like all these dreams that I was manifesting became me. And my dad's sitting there looking outside the window thinking, oh no, what is happening to my son? But, fast forward a little bit, I had a lot of great experiences and mentorship through my parents. My mom took on side jobs to make ends meet so that we could fit in with the rest of the families and go on vacations and do fun stuff. And so we had little side hustles and businesses that we ran and operated out of our basement. And one of those was a vending machine business where we learned how to organize and operate these portable vending units that we would deliver to office spaces. And then that grew to me being a 14-year-old entrepreneur, and I ran up and down the neighborhood streets and mowed people's lawns. And then that evolved into me solving problems, which became the 16-year-old Jon who said, man, I wish I had more control of the dances at schools and the dances at church outings because I wanted the room to just be that much better. And so I purchased my own DJ equipment and became a DJ, and I started putting local DJs out of business because I was taking on more of the gigs that they usually had, and I was answering to the call, which was make things better, solve that problem. And I was never one to assume that I could make other people better. I was just the one who wanted to make it better, and I took it under my wings and my willpower, and I tried. And then that evolved to a 19-year-old who decided, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my life or the next 2 years to doing an ecclesiastical mission, which led to me living in the Philippines for a couple years. And that created so many miracles and growth and maturing in my life, which led to more entrepreneurial businesses, such as a micro lending opportunity and working with virtual assistants. And then it became this thing where I was in college. I relinquished my dreams of becoming an Olympic athlete, and I focused on my entrepreneurial thoughts and getting on stage and utilizing all of those unique skill sets and powers to become what I am today. And that led to a really cool day in 2019 where I sat down across a table at a Starbucks from William Blake, and I learned that I have yet so much to accomplish. But in that moment, I realized that the dreamer has never left me, but I was always going to continue to strive and to build and to grow and to find ways to serve people, solve problems, and unite myself with people on the front that we believed in the same missions. And at its core, that's who I am. That's how I came to be. Just a fun young entrepreneur with ADHD who loves to solve problems and has a lot of interests. And not only am I a self-starter, but I'm a closer. I like to finish things. I like to see them to fruition. I have that bad habit of if I start something, I have to finish it, whether it's a TV show, a movie, or a book. And I wish I could feel better about putting something down if it's not worth my time. But I have that, like, if I've invested the time, I have to finish it, to see it through. And that's just part of my personality. And I've learned to deal with that. But that's me in a nutshell. And if the listeners of this podcast want to learn anything, it's that, look, I just haven't decided when I'm going to grow up. And if I ever grow up, I just haven't decided what that looks like and who I want to be. But if and I ever I do grow up, just know that it's not going to look any different than who I am today. And I'm going to constantly be seeking to learn new things, to grow, to help other people, and to engage in other things, and travel the world and do cool things that I've always just admired. So anything I can lay my eyes on is something that I can't wait to experience.
Yes. We should never stop being a little kid. We should always have fun. We should always do whatever it is that we enjoy. Of course, you want to be mature about it, but being mature doesn't mean that you lose that little kid within you.
Yeah.
And I have to ask Jon, what is it? Because I feel the exact same way. When I start something, I have to finish it. A show, piece of pizza. I don't know why that came to my mind, but like a task, a project. Is it ADHD? Is it something that has to do with that? Is it just because we're just two individuals that hate not completing stuff? What comes to your mind?
Uh, you know, for me, it's the track and field athlete. Um, I've only not finished a race once in my life, and that's because I physically could not finish. I literally blacked out, like feet from the finish line, and that's just from exhaustion and pushing your body too far. But I'm a finisher; like I have to see it through. You can't start at a starting line and just give up halfway. Even if you have to walk, crawl, or be pulled across the finish line on a stretcher, like I'm a racer, and we have this at Champion Circle. We have this sprint goal mentality, and that's because you have to finish what you start. And I'm learning that through the realm of cognitive discovery, that we are just breaching the surface of what atypical truly means and what neurotypical truly means. And the lives of so many billions of people are now thoroughly being better discovered and explained through the science and understanding of ADHD, ADD, and any one of the other neuro studies, right? And I don't want to get scientific about it because I'm not really well versed in it, but I do know that we're just breaching the surface of the power of the brain. And each of us, although we might have the same thing, ADHD, dyslexia, or whatever it might be, we have truly a unique and distinctive and creative process that comes from our amygdalas, and it's powerful and it's beautiful and it's irreplaceable because there's only one like it in the world. There's very similar DNA, but we are also uniquely stranded together by DNA, and it's amazing. So the short answer to that question is yes, it truly is because of ADHD or because of interest or because of attention, and the lack to hold it or the impressive ability to stick with it. And that's just who we are. It's innate abilities to say, wow. If you go back to caveman days, caveman be caveman, uh, um, today I leave cave, today I grab rock, today I pull rock back to cave, like whatever whatever it is, you just have to realize that it's inside us and it's just something you can't shake. So,
Absolutely. You mentioned Champion Circle. For people who don't know about it, what is Champion Circle? What is this professional association?
ah, it's the dream of an answer that I've been begging for that the world needs. It's something that I want people to experience because I myself came into the professional world looking up to and thinking, my entire life, whether it was an athlete, a world champion, or a business professional, I admired what the word professional meant. I admired what that represented. To be pro at anything meant that you were significantly skilled at, that you were a representative of time spent acknowledging and mastering a particular set of abilities so that you could serve and help the world. And then I got into this world of networking and I was so disappointed with
Mm.
what people were actually doing. It was like a bunch of adult bodies operating as children in an environment that claimed to build and create results. And I just could not stand it because I was shocked. Maybe I put professionalism on a pedestal, but I thought professionalism and leadership truly was the answer. I read all the great books, Seven Habits of a Highly Effective People, Never Eat Alone, Keith Ferrazzi, right? I've read so many books about how to create a better world, all the Maxwell books on leadership. Like, I care about this. And yet the real world wasn't as I read, and I needed to make a change. So Champion Circle is the evolution of a mind project that I created a long time ago to fix what networking, what relationship building, and getting results was all about. To put it simply, Champion Circle is an environment for people to come and utilize one of my favorite resources, this one right here, Think and Grow Rich. And this book right here has changed my life. And honestly, I only picked this book up recently in 2016. And this book changed my life. And I recognized immediately that the 1937 words of Napoleon Hill were more relevant to 2020 and 2020 on than they ever were before. Because we need this. We need to know the foundational principles of success. And it starts by thinking before you grow and to grow with the mindset. And I want to teach that in the applications of not only mastermind methodologies, which is a term he uses in the book, but tapping into infinite intelligence and giving people a plan, a structure, an idea, an environment, a place where they can go and allow those professional qualities that they've worked on their entire lives to take seed, to grow, to bloom, and to thrive and provide harvest for others. And that's the vision. So, quite frankly, it's just a group that allows people to come in, build trust, get results, accelerate the results, and to repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat so that you can overcome your challenges, to get confidence in the process of achieving your goals, using the powers of accountability and high performance habits to become your best self. And yes, I am not my best self all the time. I am a product of what we teach. I also follow our curriculum as we continuously tweak it and enhance it and build a place for people to grow. And it's been my life's work, my baby, if you will, in the entrepreneurial world. It has become a passion project where I've included and brought in some of my trusted, bestest, closest friends to help me build something that will outlast us. And so that's my monologue about Champion Circle. I'll shorten my answers, but I just wanted to detail the pride that I have in the product that we're creating to solve that problem.
Well said. And for those who are listening, Jon brought up such a crucial point, is that first off, what an amazing group to be able to bring like-minded individuals to accelerate your growth. First off, that's amazing. Second, you mentioned something in there that you had a problem, you didn't like what was out there, so you created something different. Like, how crucial is that in the world today to be able to create something as a solution for the problem? So many people that I talk with, They always give the excuse and the problem. And I've done it in the past, so I'm always so empathetic to it. But they say the words, I can't do it. There's nothing out there that can fix my problem. It hasn't been created yet. So I'm going to sit here and wait for it to be created. Wait for the solution to come to me. And every time I hear that, I think, no, you can't just wait. You can create it. Because for those who are productive, those who want to take initiative, those who want to break the walls of limitation that we talk about on this podcast a lot, for those who want to break that wall, taking that initiative of creating the solution to the problem. Instead of saying, why can't I? You say, how can I? And John, you're just a wonderful example of just turning that phrase of why why can't I do this? Why can't I do that too? Yeah, how can I create it?
Yeah. One of my favorite daily affirmations is the phrase, how could it get any better than this? Because it suggests both the positive and the negative. Like literally, how could it get any better than this? Like this is awesome. And then how? Like how could it get better? Like let's dive into how I could make it better. And I had the unique honor and privilege of going to see a Broadway play recently, and it's one of my favorites, and it's called the Broadway play of Hamilton, uh, Alexander Hamilton, and I was in awe. You know, I became a fan of the show by first when my younger sister introduced the songs to me. That evolved to me watching the Disney Channel, the Disney Plus exclusive that they filmed with the original cast, and that
Yeah.
evolved to me finally seeing it in person. And I got to tell you guys, seeing it in person by far uh phenomenal. Absolutely enhanced my experience. But the main thing, there's two lines that come out of this musical that really fuel me. Number one is I truly am never satisfied. And that is with the results. And it's not a negative in that I'm just not like, I don't like it. It's a positive in that, great, we received a feedback. We now know what that leads to. And we also know that those are the results as a result of what we've incurred. But I'm not satisfied. How can we improve this? How can we enhance that? So that's the first message that I love. And that's sort of my mindset on a lot of these things. And then my other mindset is truly, I mentioned it earlier about Champion Circle. We are building something that will outlive us because history truly has its eyes on you is the quote and the slogan from the play, and I believe that. Like I don't know who's watching, but whoever is, I'm going to put on a show. God, he knows, you know, he's going to say, wow, that John, he keeps surprising me, and that fuels me more than anything. That gives me insight to know that I have an audience of a divine nature that's always looking and always watching for me to do and perform and to create my best. But it goes back to also what we said, Willie. Like we have that undying desire to finish something and to see it through, only to know that we're going to continuously look at it and say, how could I make this better? And that to me is like the innate drive to just creating something. And I love that. And I love that about you too, William, because you see a challenge, a problem, an issue, things that people struggle with. And by taking your experiences and highlighting other people, you've found a way to make a difference in people's lives so that they get that light, that spark, that glimmer, that shine that gives someone enough warmth, enough clarity to say to themselves, I can do it. It's possible. I can jump in there and become what I thought I would become. And that we need more of. So 100th episode going on thousands of episodes. This is such a cool opportunity and an honor.
You're great. You're phenomenal. Goodness gracious. I sit here enthralled with your storytelling abilities, enthralled with how you share lessons. And I think about just how we create stuff in this world. I think about the problems that we have and the stories that we tell. and that the best ones are the ones that we get out what we put into it. And the best ones are when we put in so much that we get out so much more afterwards. And then when we're going through it, we feel the pain, we feel hatred, we feel backlash from whatever's pushing against us. But then in the end, that creative power of pushing through with our mind, and as Napoleon Hill says in his Think and Grow Rich book, the brain, we push through that sense of I can't do this and into awesome, look what we can do, and then we share it with other people. Jon, I know you feel this exact same way. We don't like to sit around and just wait for solutions to come. We don't want to be patient about getting things done. We want it done, we want it done now, and we're willing to put in the effort to get it done. It's a it's a crucial thing. You mentioned something, legacy. Well, you didn't say legacy, but your wording of want to outlive something, right? You want to grow champion circle to outlive you. What's the legacy you want to live
Hmm.
or leave behind, I should say?
Yeah, I love this question, and thank you for asking it. Uh, Having recently come from one of my favorite plays and musicals, I'll quote Alexander Hamilton, but I'll create my own content here by saying, the definition of a legacy is planting the seeds of a tree you'll never see. And I pray for that because, you know, you will know you will know the goodness and the truth in something by the fruit it bears, right? To quote scripture. And I love just the twinkling of an idea that the day we were born to the day we die, in between A and Z, is a whole bunch of letters, experiences, and branches that created something that have influence and give light to somebody else. And that's just that's to me what legacy is all about. Yes, I have outrageous, audacious goals and inspirations. My vision board is incredibly out there, and I live it on my sleeve like it's my emotions or my heart because I have learned a principle or two over the years as an entrepreneur, and that is the more I communicate, the more I write it out, speak it out, it becomes not an imagination, not a dream, not a lie. It becomes a living reality. And I've learned that the more I speak it, it becomes existence. So when you speak it into existence, when you write it into existence, it becomes more and more truth. It becomes a more tangible thing. And I didn't understand this principle until I learned who Bob Proctor was, and I dove into the secret, and I learned a little bit more about manifestation and affirmations and the law of attraction, and really diving into what truly brings those dreams to success. But at the bare minimum and at the core of all of it, I realized as a child I didn't need to know The Secret or read Think and Grow Rich to understand this. Because at the core level, I realized if I wanted something, I went and got it. I made it happen. And even if I couldn't have it then, right then and there and now, it was always a seed planted that I needed to harvest. I needed to have whatever I wanted because desire is a powerful tool. And I believe that desire is this thing that God gave all of us so that we wouldn't be useless breathing beings that had no drive, no ambition, no goals, no inspiration, and it's what truly fuels us. Um, and then on another note, other people's disbelief in our desires is also part of that fuel. When you buy a brand new car, they recommend, particular, um, they recommend different fuels, different oils to sustain and develop it over time so that it's a healthy engine moving forward. And essentially that's what our life is all about. It's all about fueling ourselves with the right things. And I'm all about fulfilling and planting the seeds of a tree I'll never see. And I bear and I hope and I pray and I put in the work so that the fruits it bears are the ones that people can enjoy for centuries. And they don't need to know my name. No one needs to tell my story or share what Jon Kovach did in the blink of an eye of history as its existence is. And if they do, I'm honored, but still, I want to make a difference. I want to create significance that lasts, that does something for somebody else. And if that's through a book, through a physical and literal planting of a tree, or even planting the seeds of genealogy by raising a family um, in a home that creates something that lives on, then boy, oh boy, am I honored to do that. And that's my mission. Champion Circle is part of that. We're building something that is education. It's organized infinite intelligence into a place where people can accept it, apply it, and use it for their own wealth, for their own well-being, and for their own happiness, pleasure, and joy. And that's truly where we started it. So that's kind of the genesis of it all.
Mm, well said. You've planted a lot of seeds, and I'm sure and know actually that you have a lot of strengths. If you could pick one strength and magnify it, which one would you pick and why?
Mhm. This is a great question. As I think my gut says my intuition. I would love to continue to triple down and to strengthen my intuition because as an intuitive leader and as a entrepreneurial empath, not only do I have the superpower of knowing what is necessary to fulfill the goal in hand, but I also can read a room. And that's what makes me a great MC and a great speaker, is because I can empathize with the front row. I can literally feel the thoughts of the people in the back. And I have stories about that, speaking at universities and speaking at high schools, and just having the unique, distinct impression to call on someone in the back of the room, and that led to them breaking down but breaking through on stage and through our interactions. And I just realized that if that's my superpower, is knowing how to read people, being intuitive and empathically connecting with them, then I will triple down on that skill set and make that my best. We just read a cool book in our champion reads podcast, and it was called Strength Finders 2.0. And I had the experience of taking that quiz, sorry, not a quiz, it's a strength assessment, multiple times, and my results have been very consistent. And with the power of being able to woo people, I recognize that I have this ability, inclusiveness, to bring people together. And as one of my greatest strengths, it comes across to the rest of the world as people pleasing, but it is truly that distinct ability to know and feel what every single room, meeting, and conversation needs to end with the most impact. So that's the skill set I would double down on. The skill sets that I think I need to work on the most are the ones that include my own personal well-being, like discipline, um, focus, managing my health and energy. Those are skill sets that I have, but they're ones that I need to also improve on because they lead to the longevity of me being able to perform at my best, which is utilizing and influencing through my intuition.
Mm, such a powerful thing to have because intuition, it's that gut feeling. It's those thoughts that come into your mind where you know whether or not you have the logic to back it up, that you know something is either wrong or something is right. And so many times, 9 out of 10, I think most people should follow their gut feeling because you just know that something hidden, something that's not visible is going on. And what a thing to magnify. I absolutely, absolutely love that. Little different than legacy. Jon, what is what is it you would like people to remember you most by?
Hmm. A great quote by Zig Ziglar is, "You can have anything in this world if you help enough people get what they want first." And I live that. And I embody the service aspect and the dedication that my mother and my father have taught me. And so, the most important thing that I want to be remembered for is the person who, no matter what their circumstances was, I have audacious goals of being wealthy beyond measure. But even in my lowest points, I have found the strength to be able to serve and help others. And that's what I want to be remembered for, is even when the world was crashing down, even when he was facing bankruptcy or entrepreneurial depression, or a question of life and humanity and the purpose of belief and faith. No matter where I lie in the rest of the world, and where my attitude and my my actual being is on this A to Z track, I want to be remembered for the person who chose to serve even when he was at his lowest. And I hope that that inspires everyone, because currently, and most would agree with me, that there's this general belief that we need to take care of ourselves first before we help others. It's the airplane analogy, right? Before you grab the air mask, take care of yourself first. Buckle your own seat before you buckle the child seat next to you, right? Before you take on that. And although those are fundamental actions to achieving a particular outcome, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean you can't serve at the same time. And you can multitask. You can buckle yourself while you're buckling someone else. You can reach for the oxygen mask and assist the person next to you at the same time, no matter what place and time you're in life. And that to me is the most important thing. And so if we can correct this belief that I can't help others until I'm rich, or I can help others once I'm in a better place, or, once I get out of my funk, I'm going to help other people get out of their funk. But that's not it. You know, you can have everything you have ever desired and wanted when you help others get theirs as well. And that is the principle that I truly want to be remembered for, leave behind, and embody in every action I make. Yes, I'm a human. Yes, I make mistakes. Yes, I am selfish. When it comes to sharing an ice cream with my wife, you bet your bottom dollar I get that last lick, because I love life, and I love things, and I love experiences, and I am a human being. But I also am consistently reminded of the power of service. And that legacy was passed to me through my mom and my dad. And it is my mission to live that through. So anytime, and I love my relationship with you, Willie, because you and I have such a great friendship of not only telling each other, giving each other feedback, but being honest with each other. And that kindness over being nice to each other is something that has lasted so much more of my friendships. And when I am out of character of that belief system, please knock on my door. Bring the pitchforks, scare the crap out of me, because I want to remember the disalignment that I am in when I'm not following that particular model of my living in society, which is helping others while you help yourself. And that is something that I care most about.
Again, I am in awe. Simply in awe, because just from an us point of view, like we've been with each other, learning from each other, experiencing, making mistakes for years. And as I think about, yeah, we're almost getting onto a second hand. As I thought about just the ability to get successful, the ability to break past your limitations, it always comes down to, it is easier when you have other people supporting you. hands down, every single time. And I can't tell you how many times that John and I have sent Marcos back and forth of when I'm doing something wrong and he slaps my wrist and being like, hey, I want to deliver this in a kind video, so I'll do it on the next one. You can watch it if you want to or not. But if you do choose to watch it, just let you know, I love you. And this is purely just observations that I have. You share the video, and then I do the same thing with a hand slap. And it's just like that relationship between us. Neither of us see that as a withdrawal from our emotional bank account. We see it as the deposit, if we're going to keep with that example, that we are so close in wanting to achieve things, so close and just being great friends and understanding each other, that we love each other enough to share the hard stuff. And I think that is where the respect and the limitless, as I try to look for the word, this friendship that is there. And for everyone who's listening, though, that's the kind of relationships you want for other people and for yourself. Don't discount yourself. Make sure that you get this relationship too. Find those individuals who are like-minded, who are going towards the same thing, who are going through challenges, but standing up and sharing positivity and light with the world. Those are the individuals you want to keep in your life. That's who John is. That's who several other people I keep in my life is. I keep them on high pedestals, not thinking that they're above me, but that they're standing side by side. If you ever seen the movie Narnia, it's just like the white witch is in front with her polar bears and all the goblins and everything. I'm standing there. I look to my right. One of the people there is John. And I just have the closest of individuals with me, because it's so much easier to fight the dragon, so much easier to try to achieve what you want when you have support with you.
Man, I'm honored to know that I'm on your battlefront. That's powerful. And I just want to add one quick thing to what you shared, piggybacking off that beautiful share, is that, feedback, you should believe that feedback is gold. When you have that mindset and that perspective, you become rich every time people tell you the truth. That when they're kind enough to share with you what you're lacking or what you're needing to improve or what you're missing the boat on, that's gold. And I am wealthy beyond reason in my friendship with William, because we truly are here to help and support. And I love it. Before this call, you were describing the beauty of our healthy competition, which is, it's such amazing. Like I motivate you, you motivate me to do better and to be better. And I started a podcast a while back, and I honestly have like lost track of my vision on that podcast. And to see yours erupt and to grow into what it is, it's like, man, I want to double down and just support this podcast because it's amazing. But I wanted to wrap up that thought by saying, yeah, I used to not look forward to feedback sessions and opportunities where you and I were kind of ripping into each other on a healthy level, right? But now, like, I look forward to it. I look forward to the feedback because feedback is gold. And when your friends, when your loved ones take the time, the energy, which is a lot, by the way, energy has a weight to it and it's heavier than gravity. And that weight has value. And so when people take the time to share that with you, if you see it as gold, you will be wealthier beyond reason because your relationships keep you thriving. I have lost, just through the nature of evolution and moving on, I've lost so many friends in this entrepreneurial journey. I've told people that entrepreneurism is the loneliest journey of them all. It is so siloing, and it's not our fault. It's just that we have things that we need to follow through on, and that doesn't include the people around us unless we hold them tight enough. Luckily, that's our wives, our kids, our relatives, and our closest friends. But I have lost people in my life who aren't what I thought they would be. And it's because they didn't keep up. They weren't willing to take the advice, or they didn't share the advice and counsel and feedback that we both deserved. And that relationship stopped at the wealth level that it created, which was the standstill. It didn't go anywhere, didn't prosper. but the prosperous ones are the ones that keep respectfully giving each other that upper hand to say, this will help you. And that ties back to why I love the mastermind principles, why the methodology behind what Napoleon Hill wrote into words, which had been created before the existence of really anything, is the organization of thoughts, taking infinite intelligence and two minds come together and they create this definite purpose through the spirit of harmony, and it creates something more and more. And that's just the beauty and the power of it. And we can literally harness that power and that strength and that modality through methods of brainstorming and highlighting and feedbacking and creating and so many other things. And it's such a powerful thing, which is why in 2016, Willie, I read Think and Grow Rich for the first time, and I knew in my heart that I needed to I needed to teach it, I needed to preach it. We needed to get that into as many hands as possible the right way. And I'll never stop until I crank. Because it's just the thing that I believe is one of the fastest tools to helping anyone break out and break through so that they can achieve their goals and desires.
Jon, thank you so much for being on here. Where can people find you?
Ah, anywhere on social media, my handle is at Jon Kovach Jr. That's John Jon, Kovach Kov as in Victor Ach, and Jr. They can also reach out to me personally. I have an email that takes on both requests to be on podcasts, to speak on stages, or to inquire more about our accountability programs and to learn more about Champion Circle or any one of the masterminds that I facilitate and steward over in this world. And that's by sending me an email to john@jonkovachjr.com. That'll trickle into any one of my inboxes, and I get those and I check them regularly. But if you want, engage with me on social media, follow, like, subscribe, or even just hit me up on a message. I do check all of my channels, and I even look for those mysterious blind messages that we get spam messages through in the back channels. I check those too because it's important to me that whoever's trying to reach me can reach me as long as it's with the intent of growing, learning, and serving others. So let's pass the baton off in this race of awesomeness and helping each other to serve the world. So that's how you can reach me.
Awesome. And all those will be in the description that you can find to be able to get in contact with Jon. Jon, what I like to do is what's called the final question.
Ooh,
Now, if you have ever listened to Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett,
yeah,
he
great.
does this, and I've adopted it to where someone who I interviewed in the past has left you a question to answer. You won't know who they are, and they won't know who you are because you're also going to leave a question later. But they left a question for you that I'd love for you to answer.
Hmm.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Listen to it. Let's go. Let's go. What is the hardest trade you made that ended up being worth it?
Mm. Ooh. In 2013, I had a choice. I knew my body and my physical capabilities and my belief system was the only thing I needed to fulfill the dream, the desire, the aspiration to be the Olympic champion, the Olympian athlete, or even just that high performer that I wanted to be for the longest time. But at the crossroads of that decision, I also had a choice, which was I could take this immediate physical experience and I could go down this path, which would alter the trajectory of my life for forever. Or I could hang up the cleats. I can hang up my spikes, put down my jersey, retire the sport altogether, and transmute the energy of an athletic performer into the entrepreneurial spirit of a person whose brain, whose mind could perform at the same highest levels through his voice, through his words, through communication, and transform others through the path of my entrepreneurship journey the becoming of a motivational speaker, and the ability to communicate effectively. And that was the crossroads of my decision making. And the decision I made to hang up the cleats, to fold the jersey, and to put it away. Although to this day, I still watch the Olympics with every fervor of my being, as if I was there. And watching the Olympics is just as exhausting as performing in the decathlon that I used to do. It is worth every minute and expression of my being to do that, because I've already made a difference in more people's lives. And that was a personal decision. I'm not saying that that's the same decision that other athletes should take. That was my decision based on the evaluation of the cards laid in front of me. And I chose that card. And although that altered my trajectory of life as well, I never turn back in regret. I have made every decision from that point on, knowing that there are branches and left and right turns at every point. And that trajectory has led me down an even greater path to success and to achieving what I most desire. I It was the hardest thing I'd ever done, honestly, because it separated another life of running, working out, building my life and expertise. And so the hardest choices I've made have been the greatest choices I've made, and they've defined me. And I still embody and embrace that athletic side, but still to this day, that has been the greatest challenge, but the ultimate greatest decision. And I'm so grateful. And I would never, ever turn back the tides of time to know exactly what would have happened if I had gone down that route, because it doesn't matter. Significance is merely a perception of what you receive through eternal life and through those you influence in your life. And I've had more opportunities to influence than I ever would have. I would have through my Olympic journey. And to this day, I'm still embodying the Olympic spirit in every decision I make, no matter whether it be physical, mental, spiritual, or intellectual. That's the choice I made, and it's been worth it every second of it.
I love that. Jon, thank you so much for being on here. Listeners, thank you for joining us. And this has been another episode of Light Beyond Limits. If you have found inspiration in this episode, go ahead and go to our podcast. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as the minor ones. You can also go to coachwilliamblake.com. There you'll find the link to our podcast, all the social medias, as well as everything else going on in the Achievers universe. Until next time, my friends, continue to light the world, continue to be awesome, and always remember, sometimes the hardest decisions are the best decisions that we make. So just do your best and make a decision. We'll see you on the next episode on Light Beyond Limits.